Hi guys, Queen of Flannel here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first Watercolor Wednesday in a hot minute. I'm pretty excited about this one today. This is my first Karolina Kubikowska book. Now, I have purchased and colored a few images off of her Etsy shop, but this is my first book. I ordered this back in January, and what a nice Valentine's Day surprise it was to come home from the grocery store yesterday and find it sitting on my front step. So I thought that it would be a nice way to get back into doing more watercolor work on the channel. I kind of took a break from it for a little while. Now, I'm not going to do a full flip through of this book. There are plenty of them out there, unless you guys really want to see me do a full flip through. If so, let me know in the comments and I will do one. But other than that, we're just gonna work in this gorgeous book. It is hardbacked, which I apparently didn't pay attention to when I ordered it, so I was kind of surprised. And it takes Inktense like a dream. I was playing around with the image that we're going to work on last night, trying to see if it would be something that I would be able to take to court with me if I get called in for jury duty this week. And I haven't played with the Inktense pencils nearly enough and in quite some time, so that's what we're gonna do today. We're going to work in this gorgeous book with some Inktense pencils. This is the sticker that was on the outside of the packaging. Let me try and get this where you guys can see it. So that was on the outside of the packaging, and I very carefully peeled it off and just put it in the inside of the book. And her signature down here. So I will definitely be picking up the rest of her books. But the paper in this is amazing. Let me get to the image that we're going to work on today. So this is the image that we're working on. I didn't pull any greens. Totally forgot. I have some leaves and greenery. That's fine. We'll work on the butterflies today because that's what I pulled colors for. So, I am going to be working with Inktense. I've already said that like 5 times. But I am not going to be using a water brush, at least for this part, or a paintbrush. I am going to be using one of my 8 million Tombow water-based blender pens. These work great if you want to Inktense on the go, and you don't want to take a water brush and or don't have access to water. So if you wanted to take this on an airplane, there you go. And I'll put the colors below in the description. Let's see. But I hope everyone is doing well. I am doing my best to get some content out for you guys. I'm hoping to have at least one more video after this one for this week. And then next week I have a couple things I want to work on. I might only I don't know. My son is home from school next week for his February break, so it would be nice to spend some time with my kiddo. And let me see if I can get you guys in a little There, that's a little better. There. So my son is home next week for winter break, so it'll be nice to spend some time with him. So I don't know what our plans are, but I might take next week um to pre-record some future content. I will be away for a week in March, so it would be nice to have at least um two things to come out the week that I'm gone. Um I'm just trying to think like what I have on my docket that we can work on. But I'm thinking like the majority of any tutorials I have planned, and I do have a couple, will come out that week. It's hard to film color in chats like too far out because then by the time they release, it's like the info is old and outdated. Um, but I can do tutorials um and a couple speed colors with music and whatnot. So I might work on a couple of those next week. And I'm just going over, so I worked on some of this last night, and I'm just going over some areas where I want a little more color. So I mean, this is pretty standard, depending, even if you're working with a water brush. You want to start in your lighter areas and work into your darker areas. And you can't see what I'm doing because it's off to my right here, but when I go into those darker areas, if I end up needing to go back into the light area, I'm just taking my blender pen and scrubbing it off on a sheet of paper, just because otherwise you'll end up dragging your darker color out into your light and then you won't have a light color. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with these pencils. These are the Derwent Inktense pencils. They go down and activate similar to a watercolor pencil, but they are ink. So once you activate the color and it dries, it is permanent. You can't go back in and lift it and move it around like you can with a watercolor. Now, um, there are times that I have found going back over an area that it looks like I am lifting up the Inktense, and that's more than likely just some of the previous layer that didn't quite get captured, but it is permanent. So I recommend when you're working with these, especially if you are new to them, start light and then build your layers up. But once your first layer is dry, you can go back in and add more pencil over the top. You can also, and I'm not going to do it with this because I'm using the blender pen, you can also use your brush and take your color directly from your pencil and paint it onto your image. You can scribble these on a palette and use your water brush and paint it directly onto your image. I also have one of the paint palettes. So the Inktense is in the little pan, and they also come in blocks, which is nice if you're doing bigger areas, but I'm just trying to make sure here. So this is a leaf. You have some greenery down here. I'm just trying to make sure that I decipher what, as best I can, what is leaf and what is flower petal. But I am definitely loving this book. It just, her illustration style 100% lends itself to the Inktense. And you can be kind of messy with this. It doesn't need to be a perfect application, because when you go in with your water brush or your pen or whatever you're using to activate your Inktense, you can kind of push it around where you want it to go. And fun fact, you can also use colorless alcohol marker blenders to activate your Inktense. All right, I'm gonna hold off on this area up here. Go in with some of my mid-tone here. And I'm really just working with this the same way I would in terms of, you know, where I'm applying my color, the same way that I would with pencils or marker. I tend to work in triads. So I'll pick three colors, a light, a medium, and a dark, and I start with those, and then depending on how I feel after that is when I will typically go in with additional colors to add, you know, interest or depth, or I'll go in with grays or browns or whatever, and do any additional shading that I feel like my image needs. But I'm really pleased to see that so many people enjoyed the the first part of our Hannah Carlzon color along for this month that I shared on Monday. I hope to have the second part out, depending on how the rest of my week goes. I hope to have the second part out maybe this weekend. If not, it might end up being my Monday video for next week. All right, so let me just make sure my water brush is it's been neat to try out some different mediums recently, and I'm still I'm still loving the alcohol markers. So the majority of my completed pages for this month are with markers. And I have started collecting Copics. I wasn't going to. I was like, nope, you know what? I have plenty of other markers. I have almost all of the Arteza Everblend Ultras, save for the ones that are in. I don't have the portrait set, and there's a couple that, according to my little swatch chart, which came from the Arteza website, are not available in brush tips, but the sets that they were in with the bullet tips are out of stock. And I don't know if they are discontinuing the chisel and bullet markers in favor of the brush and chisel. I'm not sure. I would like to complete the collection. So as of now, with what's out there, I am missing the portrait, and I think it's the not the deco, the floral set are the two that I don't have. And I don't know if I'm going to buy them, because a lot of the pens or a lot of the markers I would be duplicates. So like I have some of them, and I don't feel like it would be worth it to buy a set of 36 markers just to get 5 colors that I need. So I think I'm gonna hold out and see what they do as far as releasing any of these open stock or whatnot. Because yeah, it's definitely kind of triggering my full set syndrome, not being able to complete that collection. But that being said, I have started picking up some Copic markers, and I am still trying to complete my Tombow alcohol marker collection. So I ordered like 5 of each, 5 Copics and 5 of the Tombows from Blick the other day. And interesting, they're both alcohol markers, but the Copic markers ship as a hazardous material, so they can't go on an airplane. The only way that they will ship them is um via ground, but the Tombos are perfectly fine to ship via aircraft, I guess, because there was no hazmat note um with the Tombos, so I was like, oh, okay. It's just interesting. And then of course that did make me think about the supplies that I plan to take with me on my trip. Um the Tombos are going. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. So if that ends up being the only like alcohol marker set that I take with me, then it is what it is, but so I just figured I have all of the dual brush pens, which are the water-based markers, which go with this this blender pen. And I should be able to get the rest of the ABT Pros before I leave because I really do enjoy those markers. Um I like them for finer details because they have a much narrower brush nib on them. So they kind of get combined um with other with my other markers. All right, so I'm gonna shift gears and start working on one of these butterflies. And this is kind of this is kind of what I'm going for. You guys can see it. So I shared a whip. I shared some of this in Corey Colorfully Optimistic's Discord last night, and I mentioned that I was not sure what color I was going to do the butterflies. And someone mentioned purple. And so I was like, "Oh, that would be cool. We could do that." And then I was trying to figure out how I was going to tie in some of the colors from the flowers to make it more cohesive. And uh that was what I ended up looking up, uh purple and orange colored butterflies last night. So shout out to Jen. Thank you for the suggestion for the purple. I appreciate it. Oh, this is my lightest color, isn't it? Ooh. Ooh, is that what I want to do? I'm not sure. This is gonna be way more vibrant than I was anticipating it was gonna be. It's okay, we'll roll with it. We got this. Let's right. Let's do this small section here and see how we make out. I'm gonna make sure my brush pen here is nice and cleaned off because all right, guys. Actually going to leave some of that white. right? I want to incorporate some of the orange around here. But I might do that after this dries. Okay, let's see if we can recreate this on the other side here. So I started off with my light color, and we ended up out into these areas. Oh, hold on just a second. I'm just double checking something. We went into, oh, and I missed this area over here. Okay. Okay. I don't dislike that. All right, now let's bring in some of this orange. And I'm going to have to pull a darker color to do some of the shading on this one. So this is my dark tone from my triad for my flowers. All right, so let's go ahead and turn off the brush. No, it's like every time I make coffee or tea when I'm recording, I always forget to drink it. Okay, so I do want to keep some of the white. So I'm going to try and feather this out so that I don't end up with super harsh edges in here. So I'm just being like really, really light pressure with my marker, with my blender, and just brushing outward at the edges to activate the ink, but also leave a little bit of that white space because I want it to have that kind of translucent look to it. And it's okay if we get a little bit of this down here. I'm okay with that. And I'm going to do inside here with this Sienna Gold color. So I'm actually okay with some of this purple coming out in here. because I was careful to keep my purple and my yellow within like the same color family, um it's not giving me like a gross ugly brown. It's still keeping it a kind of like orangish brown, and I actually really like the way that that looks, with a little bit of the purple kind of bleeding out into the yellow. Yeah, I'm happy with the way that looks. Because these are both I've got a yellow orange and a reddish violet purple. What is this? I think it was, I've got deep rose, so there's similar undertones in there. So yeah, I actually really like the blend on that. Let me take a look at my reference photo real quick and see what we've got. All right, I'm going to do something funky. So I want part of these to be, I want this to kind of, I'm gonna try this, kind of blend together. So I'm actually going to overlap some of the deep rose with some of my Sienna Gold and hope that I don't ruin this. And I want a darker transition in here. So I am pressing a little heavier. And let's see. I gotta make sure that I pull from the Inktense and not from the watercolors, since they are in the same case. All right, let's see. All right, let's. We got. I'm just kind of throwing stuff at this, you guys, hoping it doesn't look like crap. The other thing that you can do is if you want to maintain your highlights with this white area, is just make sure that your blender pen is cleaned off of all of the color. Go into the white area and just flick outward, and just be careful not to pull any of the color back into the white, and that will help blend some of those edges. It'll put the water down on the page and help you to blend the edges, but still maintain a white highlight. You just have to make sure that there's no color on your brush or your pen before you do that. I actually don't dislike the way this is turning out. I am going to, I don't know if it's going to let me do it because this is still a little damp down here. So I might have to come back in and do that afterwards, but I did come back in a little bit with the Sienna Gold, and just added a little bit down here at the edges. I'm super pleased with how this is shaping up. Yeah, I'm actually like really pleased with how this is turning out. And then I'll have to figure out how I want to do the rest of the butterflies. I don't know if I want to do them all in this combo, or some of the smaller ones I might do in just the light colors. And I might pull another color palette out as well, but I think that's a good place to kind of bookend this for right now, so that I can take a moment and think about my next steps for it. But yeah, I'm happy with the way it looks. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, maybe consider giving me a like, a sub, hit the bell to get notified when I post future content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.